So there's plenty of research showing that the brain really wants and needs very specific nutrients to function at its best. Because the reality is that when I was studying, my favorite class has always been neurochemistry. And I was learning about all these different molecules and all these different chemical reactions that are so important for brain function and neuronal health and whatnot. And then I realized, well, we're really looking at potassium and sodium and magnesium and omega-3 fatty acids and protein and glucose. And those are nutrients. So the nutrients that we obtain from the foods that we eat literally become part of the fabric of our brains. So every day we have a number of opportunities, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, to either make a smart choice that supports our brain health or the opposite and feed our brain garbage that is going to be unfortunately incorporated in the fabric of your brain. And I don't want that for my brain, for sure.
I don't want that for my brain.
Exactly. So it's really important to focus on clean foods that are nutrient dense and that prioritize the nutrients that your brain wants. The brain is not a sponge. I keep saying that because I think there's some confusion in the world where people think that whatever you eat can have a direct impact on brain health. For instance, I learned that individuals who really are interested in brain health would say things like the brain is mostly fat, has a lot of cholesterol, which is true. Therefore, you need to eat a lot of cholesterol to support the fat inside your brain, which is absolutely not correct. The cholesterol from the diet can never get inside your brain. There's no way for the substance to actually get inside your head. I mean, your head, yes, but not inside your brain. So eating cholesterol-rich foods will not help your brain at all. Eating antioxidant-rich foods will. So the nutrients that your brain really relies on are antioxidants, like vitamin C, vitamin E, selenium, beta-carotene, things that you find in fruits and veggies, basically, and some nuts and seeds, preferentially. Lean protein, so amino acids, the essential amino acids, and polyunsaturated fatty acids, which can be from plant-based sources or animal sources, but they really have to be the polyunsaturated fatty acids that the brain really wants and needs and need to be replenished consistently.
So you're saying if I'm struggling with menopause, then I should be aiming at the Mediterranean diet?
Pretty much, yes. Thank you. That's the bottom line. So a Mediterranean style pattern seems to be correlated or at least associated with better outcomes overall for women's health.
What about supplements?
Supplements are typically used to supplement a healthy diet, not to replace it. And I think that's important because at least here, there's a tendency to recommend really high doses of supplements to everyone across the board. But we do know that supplements only work if you have a deficiency or at least a subclinical deficiencies. Whereas giving high doses of something that your body, or let's say the brain at least, I just stay in my lane, but high doses of something that your brain doesn't want or need are not going to be very helpful. You're just going to either pee them out or they're just going to accumulate in other parts of the body, so they're not as helpful.
Because everyone that talks to me about the brain talks to me about omega-3 as a supplement that I should take for... Every time I take omega-3, I think I'm doing my little brain a favor.
You may or may not. So the research shows that the brain seems to need a certain amount of omega-3 fatty acids that are between 3 and 6 grams per day. Now, if you're able to obtain that from a diet, then maybe supplements are not necessary. But if you're not, then supplements may be helpful. Omega-3s, yes, those are the polyunsaturated fatty acids that the brain really needs. Antioxidants as well. I take vitamin C.
Oh, okay. So you are on the supplements. You were just trying to keep them all to yourself.
No.
I'm joking.
I wasn't. Well, you know what I really like is more extracts.
Okay.
And botanicals.
Okay.
I'm not a take my pill kind of person. I actually get quite annoyed when I need to take pills. I just don't like it. Mm-hmm. I think because I work in a hospital.
Right.
So I associate that as being sick.
Yeah,
so I don't like that feeling. But what I really enjoy is to get my nutrients from either extracts or concentrates from plants and veggies and fruit. So in the morning, the first thing I do is that I drink water immediately, but also then I have noni juice, which is a... Sometimes you give me the eyebrow. You just go like...
Noni juice.
Noni, N-O-N-I, is a wonderful juice from the Pacific Islands that has a little bit of a bitter taste, which is always good because bitters are really good for digestion and gut health. And that's important for brain health and elimination as well, and clearance. And it's very rich in vitamins and minerals and a lot of phytonutrients. So that's a good concentrated source. And it's mixed with blueberry juice. So that's also really good to have.
One of the things I found quite fascinating is I read that there was a study done on legumes that proved, it was in your book, it was in chapter 14, where it says legumes apparently seem to be a bit of a miracle food for delaying menopause.
Yeah, so a diet that is rich in legumes and also fish, fatty fish, has been linked with a later onset of menopause.
By how much?
3 years. Whereas women who follow the standard American diet, like the SAD diet, with more, lots of sugary beverages and processed foods and packaged meats and whatnot, that's been linked with an earlier onset of menopause by about 3-4 years. And the last thing you want is to go through menopause earlier in life if you don't have to, right?
I was reading as well in your book that women who do consume enough omega-3 may experience different types of menstrual pains and fertility issues and stuff. Is that true?
Well, the research shows an association between consumption of omega-3 fatty acids and, also lower risk of depression and recurrent depressive symptoms in menopause, as well as better fertility overall. And the same for antioxidants. Antioxidants have also been linked with a gentler menopause overall and fewer menstrual cramps and less pain, and the lower risk of premenstrual syndrome as well.
If you love the Diary of a CEO brand and you watch this channel, please do me a huge favor. Become part of the 15% of the viewers on this channel that have hit the subscribe button. It helps us tremendously, and the bigger the channel gets, the bigger the guests.